So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Back at it again. We were here last night and we're back again, and today I'm delighted to be joined again by Jay White, as well as we preview the Forest game. But I didn't even say this to you, Jay. I kind of want to still revel in last night's result, the 3-0 win against Brighton. And before we get on to the Forest game, what was your view on that, Jay? How did you like?
Yeah, I'm good, Neil. Great to be back here, mate, with you. Yeah, do you know what? I was working away and I was getting a bit twitchy to see if I could sort of be able to watch the game, or follow the game, shall we say? And yeah, I did. And honestly, I mean, what a win! What a performance! It was just amazing, honestly, just to sort of see how well we did, especially in that second half. I mean, first half I thought we were good. We were unlucky, I say unlucky, robbed probably is the better word. With the penalty and a possible sending off. But to come away from Brighton with a 3-0 win, first of all, getting 3 points, second of all, helping that goal difference as well. Do you know what I mean? Sort of chipping away a bit again at that, because there's no doubt that could come in handy towards the end of the season. But yeah, I just thought absolutely brilliant. And the goal scorers as well. I'll be honest now, I was hitting a few golf balls this evening with a pal of mine, Oscar, and we were chatting as we were, and he's just saying, look at our goal scorers: Marcus Rashford, Marco Asensio, and Daniel Marlin. It's easy to sort of get complacent with it, do you know what I mean? But to sort of have them on the score sheet for us last night, coming away with a win, yeah, I was absolutely buzzing. So pleased.
Yeah, no, I this Rashford, the sassy Malin stuff is not for me. Give me Jordan Bowery, Grant Holt, and Libor Kozak any day of the week. The streets never forget. The streets never forget.
100%. Now I've been there, mate, watching us play Barnsley. Rotherham, no disrespect to those teams, but yeah, in a different league now, and it's mate, just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's super. Look, and we are living in it is strange and brilliant times at the moment that we have with Aston Villa, and the games keep on coming. Because Forest is going to be a hell of a test at the weekend as well. Forest just keep on getting the results. They beat Man United 1-0. No, that's not really the feather in the cap it used to be, but the goal that they scored, Anthony Elanga just basically saunters through them and passes it into the back of the net. United were woeful in the concession of that goal, but the Forest train just keeps on rolling on, and it's a real testament to Nuno Espirito Santo for the job that he's done since he's got in there.
Oh, massively. Look, Forest, I class, and I think most of us class Forest as a big club. 2 European Cups. They've been there, done it, and they were a sleeping giant in the lower leagues. And to sort of see, let's be honest, nobody expected Forest to be where they are at this stage of the season. Let's be realistic, probably tipped to be one of the relegation candidates, or certainly in around that sort of 15th, 16th, 17th position. But like you say, the job that Nuno's done there, sort of that stability that he seems to have got, and again, players like Elanga, who was at United. We could talk about our own Marcus Rashford and compare that. He has gone there, and the goal that he scored the other night, what a goal. It's just showing the confidence Nuno's got on playing with confidence. And I think, to be honest, I do see some of the similarities from us last season with Forest. Teams expecting, or fans waiting for him to sort of slip up, waiting for him to drop off. And we're 3/4 of the way at least now, or pretty much 3/4 of the way through the season, and they're there. You know what I mean? They're in the sort of top three, and looking like they have got a realistic chance. And Saturday's game it's a big game. It's a huge game for both teams, more so us, I think, to keep the pressure on and keep pushing. But yeah, it's going to be a hard game.
Absolutely would be a hard game, and as you say, the togetherness and the cohesion that Nuno has fostered within that group of players. he hasn't really reinvented the wheel in anything, but he's basically put the players in the best position to succeed. Like Ryan Yates playing as a right wing back at times. Nico Williams playing as a left back. Well, I know that's where he plays. Like big eyebrows raised at the massive money that was paid to sign Elliot Anderson. He's been absolutely outstanding for them this year. Been really brilliant, along with Gibbs White, Alanga, as you said previously. Maybe they're going to be without Chris Wood at the weekend. He's in my fantasy football team, so I don't want him to play. If anybody who's in my fantasy draft league is watching this, he's available for trade. If you guys want to trade for him. But I watched the United game, and when he up top, genuinely he looked like somebody who could have played as a number 6 or a number 7 in a rugby team. The way he was bouncing off players, he was just like, he was literally putting his head down and grappling people around the waist and everything. He was a nuisance up top for them. But the big strength that Forest have shown is obviously they've been good going forward, but it's the 3 centre halves that they've played this season. Like Murillo is an absolute Rolls Royce. He's brilliant, but Milinkovic is in there. We know him. He scored the goal that got them back into the game against us. And then they've got Morato as well, who's played out there on that as that left centre half at times as well. And it's an intriguing lineup that they put up. But they've come to Villa Park, and we know how good we are in Villa Park. So I'm not going to say that I'm unconfident in this game for this game at the weekend, because it doesn't look like Forest are going to get white line fever as they come towards the end of the to the end of the season. But currently, as we are recording this, Chelsea are drawing 1-1 with Spurs. Let's say Villa beat Forest. Villa go to 51 points, 6 points behind Forest. It really does kind of condense the pack behind them. And it does. It will be interesting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I say, I don't want to say it, and I think just because I'm a Villa fan and we're Villa fans, I don't like to go in and be like, I'm really confident. Look, we had a great win yesterday. It's 3 on the bounce now that we've won 3-0. I know about the international break as well, but look, us at Villa Park with the squad that we've got, with the players that we've got back. I think is it pretty much Leon Bailey and Barkley that are only the 2 that are really missing from the squad now? Hopefully they'll be in and around it again soon. But I think 5:30 Saturday at Villa Park, we can win. We can absolutely win. And like you say, if we do get that result, that again puts that pressure on. And I'll tell you what I do find funny, Neil, that everybody is raving about the season that Forest has. Quite rightly so. But if we do get 3 points, we're only 6 points behind. So that says a lot about how our season's been as well. You know what I mean? I mean, we're comparing it to last season where we did incredible, getting Champions League and 4th. But, we're sitting here pretty in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, quarterfinals of the Champions League, and still pushing for the top, let's be realistic, top 6 in the Premier League. And look, Forest are no mugs, we know that, but I would absolutely love us to get a result on Saturday, and that sets up 7 games in 21 days. It's going to be it's 7 cup finals, or however many to the end of the season now, isn't it?
It really is, and it's going to be difficult for the team to, and look, it's even difficult for us to do a preview and not stray into Paris Saint-Germain talk, or talk about the FA Cup semi-final, or even Southampton. My mind has started to drift to that game, going, oh my God, if we beat Forest, imagine that we've got Southampton in the league. That's 3 on the bounce in the league. We're really back in play. But it all hinges on this game. And I previously said Brighton was the most important game of Aston Villa's season. Nottingham Forest is now the next most important game of Aston Villa's season. And then Paris Saint-Germain away is the next most important game of Aston Villa's season. And it's not hyperbolic to say that at any given time, because beat Forest, we stay in the hunt. Beat Paris Saint-Germain, we stay in the hunt for a Champions League semi-final place, which, to be honest with you, is like, it feels like someone's spiked my drink or something like that, to even utter those words. But it all does pivot around this game at the weekend. And the good thing about it is, we're talking about 21 or 7 games in 21 days, which is, teams like good teams have to get over that problem,
Absolutely.
And when you said that we're only missing, well, Ross Barkley and Leon Bailey, mostly, I suppose, Ross Barkley at the moment, but he is training. So we potentially could be missing nobody. We have the horses in the stable to be able to run this race, I think, for sure. And you even just had to see it with Onana coming on, giving Tielemans half an hour of a rest. Rashford got a half hour rest. McGinn got... did McGinn come off? Can't remember, did he come off or not last night? But, players got that rest. Mings was rested from the start as well. And, the team looked as coherent as ever. And it looked as the chemistry looked good between the players that came in off the bench as well. And that's something I think the Villa haven't had since maybe week 7 of this year because of injuries. And that has to bode well, I think. What's your view on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think looking at the bench last night, I think I saw a few tweets and things, sort of people saying, is this our strongest bench? So, I mean, some said ever, but the players that came on, like you say, it is a squad game. It's not that 11. It's it's a 16, 17, 18 players that you need to utilize. And I think what I really liked last night is, and this is Emery as a coach, isn't it? Players know their role. He'll bring Onana on. He'll bring on, say Garcia at right back. Disasi, sorry, who came on last night. They know what to do. They know their role when they come. Marlon come on, scored. I was absolutely chuffed for him last night.
Yeah.
And we've got that ability to rotate. And I saw Pau Torres when I saw him on the team sheet last night. I was like, okay, I'm a big fan of Mings. Always have been, and again a big fan of Torres as well. So I think giving Mings that sort of bit of a break, he's played a lot of football. He's putting himself through the absolute pain barrier for us as a club and him as a player. But yeah, like I say, Torres coming back in last night and slotting in there. We're going to need a squad. We're going to need a squad. It starts on Saturday against Forest. It'll be interesting to see who Emery starts, I think, on Saturday. I'll be honest, I was quite surprised that Watkins was on the bench last night. It's I know he was on the bench against Preston, but Rashford sort of going through the middle. Look, he scored a good goal. That ball from Rodgers, not to make this a review of last night, but the ball from Rodgers and that finish, wow. It's okay. He kicked it in the ground, doesn't matter, but just the whole sort of aspect of it. And yeah, like I say, it just sort of makes me think: will he bring Watkins back in on Saturday? Will he move Rashford left? What an exciting option to have as a manager and fans.
Super problem to have. Absolutely superb problem to have. I think we see the team that goes out on Saturday will be a dress rehearsal for PSG.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be smart to do that. I think if you start playing scared now, you run the risk of coming up dud-handed over the next 2 weeks. So play confident, puff your chest out, play like a team that's on a 6-game winning streak. Forest are on a 5-game winning streak at the moment in all competitions, 2 of those being in the FA Cup, one against Brighton, one against Ipswich. But like in the last 6 games, they've drawn against Arsenal in the league, they beat Ipswich on penalties in the Cup, they beat Man City 1-0 in the league, they beat Ipswich 4-2 away in the league, they drew with Brighton and won on penalties in the Cup, and they've beaten Manchester United 1-0. You said that it reminds you of us last season. It is eerily similar to us last season, the way that they just eked out those results. Like none of those results that they've had, the only one that jumps off the page there is being, well, obviously the Man City 1-0 win is absolutely brilliant. They can't take anything away from them. That kind of reminds me last year of the fact that they had Arsenal and then City afterwards. We had City and then Arsenal, if I'm not mistaken. We beat City 1-0 with the Leon Bailey goal. Then we beat Arsenal with the Ollie Watkins goal, if I'm not mistaken. But they've eked out results over the course of the last few games, and coming to Villa Park, they should be confident because they've been able to upset any team.
Yeah,
I think I think it's just going to be game of the weekend. I really do. I think there could be goals in this game at the weekend, and I think this could be a 3-2 thriller at Villa Park, and hopefully we come out the right end of it.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a feeling as well, Neil, that we could see some goals. Look, we've kept 3 odd clean sheets in a row now, or 4, something like that.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, that's it, the 4. So yeah, but prior to that, we know we've been susceptible to conceding, you know, to give teams a chance. So hopefully we can keep it tight at the back and go on the offensive. But yeah, like I say, I do like Forest. I love to see Forest doing well, especially in that sort of top area of the league, because I think it's good. I think it's good to have another Midlands club. They are a proper club, you know. Your Chelsea's and your Spurs and your Man Uniteds and the likes of it have ruled the roost, and now we've come through Newcastle and Brighton to a degree as well, you know, sort of infiltrating that top 6 sort of thing, and it's good. And look, you know, like I say, I've wanted them to do well. Not on Saturday. I want them to lose. Absolutely want them to lose on Saturday, and yeah, like I say, getting 3 points for us, I think would be huge, and send a bit of a message as well. You know what I mean? I think, yeah, I think it's, you know, teams are aware of us. I think last night, yeah, they are gonna take note. We leapfrogged Brighton last night with that win, didn't we? So yeah, like I say, I think if we can break Forest down, you mentioned earlier that the couple of their centre halves, Murillo and Milenkovic, again, been so impressed with them, so impressed, no nonsense, you know, pretty calm, composed, and they've been the foundation, really, I think, for them to build and allow your Hudson-Odois, your Elangers, your Woods, Gibbs White, and that sort of players to create and score goals. So yeah, it could be an open game. It could be an open game.
Yeah, and I'm hoping in a lot of ways that it is, because like even last night. So last night's game was, once again, you know, past this podcast is very much falling in the lines of past almost being prologue, where we have to kind of discuss the last game to see, because it was a game that suited Villa. And look, I would listen to just general football podcasts. I actually haven't gotten around to listen to any other Aston Villa podcasts today. I usually listen to all of them, but whatever way, my day was mental busy in work today. Just with certain things going on, should I say, in the geopolitical world at the moment, it kind of threw my day and work into disarray at the moment. That's how I would put it. But I didn't get a chance to listen to any of my Villa podcasts. But last night before I went to bed, whatever, I can't remember what was I listening to a podcast, or was I listening to the radio? But it seemed like whoever I was listening to had a completely different vision of how the game against Brighton went. That like Villa were just like in the corner, absorbing all the blows and just catching them on the counter attack. And that's not the game I saw. I saw an open game. I saw a game that went both ways. I saw a game whereby for a lot of periods of time, until Villa got Villa got the goal, and yes, they conceded, which was ruled off by VAR. But when Villa, I started to get the upper hand, there was no denying them the win in that game, and I saw a completely different game, I think, than this podcast saw. And that's why I wanted to be more open against Nottingham Forest. That's why I want them to come at us, and that's why I want them to attack us, so that we can get the likes of Rashford going. We can maybe get those cutbacks, which work best when you're dealing against the team and you're counter-attacking. So Asensio can get free in the box and score, so that you can maybe bring on a Daniel Malin when it is open, so that he can go really wide right and pick up those spots. And we don't need to keep a Morgan Rogers on the field all the game. Brilliant if we do, but if he's out in the right and he's been ineffectual, that we don't have to keep him in the game. We can bring on maybe a more pacey player, and someone that isn't just going to carry the ball through the middle. So I think that's really, really interesting. And I hope it is an open game. I really, really do.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, I think Rogers. I thought Rogers was fairly quiet, sort of first half yesterday, and then the ball for Rashford's goal, and then the ball from Cash as well. By the way, superb down to Rogers down that right flank for him to cut in for Asensio. You know, the whole goal was great build up, and I think for me, look, last night, Brighton did hit the post. They had that one disallowed. I mean, how that VAR took that long to disallow that goal, I will never know. I mean, it's hit his arm clear as day. Whatever angle you look at it, it has hit his arm. But yeah, fortunately, they didn't, do another howler like they did for ours with Maverick. Oh, it was just absolutely wild. But yeah, like I say, I think hopefully an open game, not too open. We are better, as we know, when teams play. We're we I wouldn't say struggle because we do tend to break teams down. Sort of like the Prestons. I mean, the one that stands out to me was Ipswich home game back in Feb, I think it was, where we just couldn't break them down. They were down to 10 men, and yeah, we just couldn't do it for whatever reason. Just wasn't our sort of day. But yeah, hopefully Forest will sort of commit a little bit, and it does leave the space. It does. Our transition play, the goal we scored against Preston on Sunday, the goal we scored last night again from back to front. It's dangerous. We're a threat on the counter as well as building from the back, which I think again we've got options. We've got a couple of different ways of playing and a couple of ways of attacking. So yeah, hopefully we sort of push through with that on Saturday.
Yeah, it's and that's how I think we're going to need to be very inventive against Forest, regardless of what way we go about it as well. So it's it's interesting to see how we will stack up against them, should I say. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they'll stack up. I was a bit distracted there because I was getting phone calls on 2 different phones there as this is going on. I was trying to figure out who was ringing me, why they were ringing me, trying to cancel those calls. So apologies if you were looking and going, what the hell is this lad doing here? And to make things worse, I have a baby monitor here as well. So I'm quadruple jobbing at the moment. So I do apologize very much. I was listening to you. Don't worry. But the funny thing was I could hear both calls through in my headphones. So that was a strange one as well. So
and they say us men can't multitask. Do you know what I mean? You've just proven it. You've just scientifically proven it now. I'm sorted.
I have. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have. But I hope that Villa are going to be able to multitask at the weekend. See what I did there? Professional.
Smooth.
That's what I was doing. Smooth, yeah. And it's I've given up. I've over probably since the turn of the year, since Christmas, I've kind of been very vocal in saying, preview shows I find the most difficult shows to do because at the time you never know who was going to be fit, and then all of a sudden everyone's fit, and now I'm going, the preview shows are the most difficult shows to do because now everyone's fit. You don't know who's going to bloody play.
I thought you meant me or Paddy then.
But it's difficult, I suppose, really to give a good sense in a preview at the moment, or has been all year, I suppose, really, because you just don't know what 11 are going to go out in the field. But the confidence levels that I have for this weekend is whatever 11 we put out will be an international grade or an international level or a Champions League level 11, and I don't think there's many other teams as well, I suppose, outside of the traditional top 6, and even at that, I think a lot of those have got holes in their squads, and I think that we're looking at a squad that's pretty well rock solid. If a right back and not wishing injury in anyone, but Cash goes down, the Sassy comes in, Garcia comes in. We've got 4 centre halves now, which is a luxury considering where we were 12 weeks ago. We've 2 international level left backs. We've got 4 players in midfield that can come in at any given time. We've got 3 strikers we can now play. Whereas we had only Ollie Watkins there for a period of time. I know we had John Duran, but he left, and we had Ollie Watkins. So we just said Ollie Watkins. So it's we're really well stacked, and I trust Unai Emery to go and maybe shuffle the deck, but to go and not play scared, as I said at the weekend. That would be my if I could give advice to Unai Emery, that would be my advice for him. Would be to not play scared at the weekend and just go for it. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think like I say, look, he may shuffle the pack. I think one thing for me now is that I do look at the team, and even if he does make changes, I don't seem to think we're weaker. Say he plays Maatsen at left back, say he, brings Onana in, or I can't think of another example, but say Bailey was starting. I wouldn't think, okay, we're resting players or we're dropping players. Okay, you're Martinez and probably Konsa. And they're probably the 2 that you'd absolutely have on that team sheet pretty much first, really, and maybe Tielemans now. I think he's probably up there, and Kamara. But I think there's still probably, let's be honest, what, four places maybe that are open to change, maybe 5. that you think actually we could rotate, whether it be fullbacks, maybe one centre half, midfield. Again, Rodgers, you look at that, he's pretty much a guaranteed starter because of the season he's had and having so far. So I think, yeah, really, really for me, I agree. I hope we don't sort of make too many changes at once. We sort of keep that sort of stability and that momentum going now. But we've got to, this is Premier League where it's the biggest. The biggest competition, arguably, okay, apart from Champions League as a knockout, but Premier League is a marathon, and we want to be up there. Then we're absolutely gonna go for it, and like I say, I think hopefully Emery will give it his all, which he's done all season, and carry on, because it's one hell of a journey so far.
Absolutely, it absolutely is, and there's twists and turns all over the place, because it turns out that Chelsea won 1-0 against Spurs after being 2-0 up at one stage and 1-1 at one stage against Spurs. Chelsea somehow managed to win 1-0 in the wonderful world of VAR football that we have currently at the moment. So that is Spurs not, well, it's not finished yet. There's still 3 minutes of time left to go. So maybe Spurs do pull one out of the bag there, but so far they don't seem to be doing us any favours, as John Steele said in the comments there as well. I think we're going to leave it at that, Jay. Thanks a million for popping on. Really appreciate it. And sorry for looking distracted there at all the different things that were flashing at me there at one stage. It was like Christmas had come early there, and there was just lights everywhere going off here beside me. So I do apologise.
All good. All good.
Thanks.
Great. Always a pleasure, Neil. Thanks, mate.
Absolutely. Thanks as always for your insight. And thanks for everyone who watched this and is listening as well. It's been a bit of an earlier team preview that we do usually for Saturday game. We do it on a Friday, but nice to get it out Thursday, get it nice and early, get it out there nice and early, and let it breathe for a while, and let people listen to it. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate everybody's time for watching and for listening, and we will be back on Saturday with a team sheet tantrum again, 75 minutes before the game, and also post-match bang on full time as well on Saturday. So hopefully you'll join us for that. But in the meantime, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.